This video is called Hitler's Secret, but it has everything to do with the world we live in today. There's been a lot of documentaries about the rise of Hitler, and they do a great job telling about the details of what he did, but they don't reveal his secret. This video does. It's not going to be easy to take, but it will be the truth. And this truth has everything to do with the world we live in today. So, what was Hitler's secret? I mean, how do you take 79 million good, decent, God-fearing Lutherans, Methodists, and Catholics and turn them into a killing machine? Hitler exploited the mental laziness of his people. They didn't examine their ethics closely enough, and he used that fact to overtake them, unbeknownst to his victims. He knew of their stupor, and he was positive that his secret would work. Make no mistake about it, at the very core of Hitler's success there could be found the ultimate cause, the mental laziness of his nation. Now, in religion, as with Nazism, there lies a common ethical flaw, which is the expression of a thinking disease. In other words, this thinking disease is consistently manifested as an ethical flaw. So, what flaw did Hitler see? And how did he take advantage of it? This is his secret. As an extremely religious country, the average German would have no problem with the following statement. It's good to give to the poor in the name of God, and God would be pleased if we were to give our money and time in helping those less fortunate. And this sounds so loving and good. We're going to get back to it once we establish the lens through which that particular statement should actually be viewed. Altruism. It's an ethical principle. Altruism means the uncalculated transfer of human values in the name of some ethical principle. So to break down the definition, we'd see values, be they time, money, stuff, or even your life. Anything you call your own in value, being transferred for some reason that seems good, some virtuous reason. And in this case, it's God. It pleases God that we give our resources to the poor without calculating a return to ourselves. It's just an ethical principle. It is selfless. And that selflessness is motivated or brought into being by one's love of God and the desire to please Him. So this is how we can understand altruism as an ethical principle in its most basic form. Now look at the definition again, and you'll begin to see that it is a construct, a template, a thinking habit. Altruism is the uncalculated transfer of human values in the name of some ethical principle. So look at it again with some specifics plugged in. And remember, the underlying construct remains the same. And so it's true to the definition. It lines up with the way altruism as an ethical principle must be understood. There are many dimensions to Christianity, but in one sense, it means that we transfer of ourselves. It could be our money, our time, our things, to be specific, to the poor. And we do it in the name of God. This means that altruism demands sacrifice, and it casts that sacrifice as a higher ethical value, a virtue, even a duty. And for one to be obedient to God, they must therefore sacrifice themselves and do so in the name of God. So values are transferred, no return is calculated, and the motivation is a higher cause, one's love for God. Now, this exact same construct, without alteration in any way, can be used for other purposes. You see, it's hard to believe, but Hitler was the consummate, the ultimate altruist, and I'm about to explain. For example, he shunned material values himself. He destroyed them. 55 million dead, a continent pounded into rubble. And he sought to wipe out productive people. He called for sacrifice and gave a virtuous motivating reason for such sacrifice. His fundamental actions were in perfect harmony with the conceptual construct of the altruistic ethic that underpins Christianity. He didn't have to do much to the Germans except tweak the nature of the sacrifice and change the motivating force. Because of Christianity, the construct was already there, complete, and in no need of fundamental alteration. Just listen to his own words. This is taken from a typical speech. But he said this in many ways at different times. But Hitler once said the Aryan is not greatest in his mental qualities as such, but in the extent of willingness to put his abilities in the service of the community. In him, the instinct of self-preservation has reached the noblest form, since he willingly subordinates his own ego to the life of the community, and if the hour demands, even sacrifices it. End quote. Again, we see the definition of altruism in its perfect form. One's values, up to and including his life, as Hitler said, are given to a higher cause. As he put it here, the community. He often said at different times, he used the phrase the national will, the fatherland. And he even came right out and said the word sacrifice. Altruism isn't just an ethical principle. It is an outward expression or manifestation of a deeper problem that I mentioned in the beginning. A thinking default, a serious error, and that error is mysticism. So let's be clear about what I mean by mysticism. You say that word today, people generally think of Eastern religions, but that's not what it means. Mysticism is defined as any attempt, be it with your mind or in a physical form, to avoid, evade, or recreate reality. In other words, a dream world, unreal. So it's this mysticism, this disease of the mind, that is ultimately at the heart of altruism. In one case, the mysticism is a non-existent excuse for self-sacrifice, being a god, and in the other, the state. So make no mistake, those who cheat their way to power always exploit the mystical tendencies within their victims, and the way they actually apply that exploitation is through the very specific flaw in ethics that is known as altruism. So it's a two-step process. Install a mystical motivation for sacrifice, then leverage that mysticism through the ethical flaw of altruism, which always leads to human sacrifice. Altruism isn't just evil. It is the evil from which all other evils flow. And when someone is blinded by mysticism, they give this destructive concept the ultimate cover and make this ultimate evil look like the ultimate good. See, that's what happens when you live in a dream world. White looks black, up looks down, right looks wrong, wrong looks right. You know, on the surface, right-wing conservatives, who are actually usually Christians, are seen as the polar opposites of the redistributionist socialists on the left. But now, you can clearly see that at the most basic level, this ethical level, they are identical. The elites who ride to power on people's mysticism, they know something you don't know. They know Hitler's secret. And so, they install mysticisms in their victims, on the left and the right, then use the same flaw in their ethics to gain bogus power, unearned wealth, and adulation. And that ethical flaw is altruism. Religious people aren't always on the right. Many churches are socialist in nature. They support socialism. The ethical flaw of self-sacrifice is that complex. The ethical flaw itself, by definition, is static, but it has a remarkable flexibility to fit this or that mysticism. And who cares why someone stops thinking and fails to consider making a return when they sacrifice? I mean, the view of the power elites, as long as they just sacrifice, what difference does it make why they sacrifice? For example, we hear Glenn Beck telling people to know why they believe what they believe, to be grounded and rooted in their beliefs, or they'll be swallowed up eventually and throw in with the socialists. What he doesn't realize is that he and his followers have the exact same disease of the mind that Obama's mindless followers suffer from, mysticism. One believes in the motivating force of a mind-created all-powerful God, and the other in the motivating force of a mind-created all-powerful state. Sure, it's hard to believe that Glenn Beck and the average Obama voter is the same, but at the most basic level, they are. The elite power structures care little about which mystical current has pulled you under and drowned you in their sea of altruistic ethics, sacrifice, and slavery. As long as the population remains in a mystical stupor, unable to recognize or define the ultimate reality, which is that it's all about power, it matters nothing to them. In fact, if the various mystical factions are at odds with each other and they're not looking at the hand that's really performing the magic trick, it's to their advantage to have various mysticisms at each other's throats. Understanding Hitler's secret would have required the people of Germany to stop, consider their mysticism, discover it, truly understand it, and come to terms with it, then smash it, and with it the motivating aspect of their self-sacrifice through altruism. But they couldn't, because it is the perfect cover. No one, with maybe the odd exception, no one listening to this video will have the courage to identify their mysticism as a trick that has been pulled over their eyes either, thus fail to untangle the motivating power of their ethical flaw. So you too will continue to be exploited by the power elite, continue sacrificing and continue defending your particular mystical mind-created reality, because you're locked in, you're snared, helpless. Your mysticism is so powerful you can't pull away. You hold to it. You cherish it. You'd even die for it. This is the nature of your slavery. I never said it would be easy. I just said it would be the truth.